Hey guys, good morning. It's Sunday, September 2nd, and the strangest thing just happened. I was about 5 minutes into my video when my phone just went, it was all blue lines, almost like back in the old days when TVs would shut down in their program. It was very weird, never had that happen before. So, anyway, where do I start? As the journey turns, when I last left you guys, I was planning on probably sleeping in the fields, but I also knew that Pam was so instrumental in making yesterday happen wasn't going to be able to sleep knowing I was out in the field, so I knew she'd be kind of working it. I wish she didn't. Fields are fine for me. And going forward, just so people know, um, I don't need a whole lot of hospitality. If someone says, "Hey, I got a safe lawn for you to sleep out back," I'm fine with that. I just want to sleep where the police aren't going to arrest me for vagrancy, or some young folks are going to roll up on me and decide they want to make an example of me in some way. So, um, but I always get a kick out of. It seems like I think people feel um, like they want to. I don't think they want to put on airs per se, but they want to be so hospitable and have a room and a shower and look. I just want to know I can go to put my head down on the pillow outside and like I said, sleep without the knowledge that the police are going to roll up on me in the middle of the night. But anyway, I was sitting down and it was starting to get a little bit dark out, or the sun was going down. I shouldn't say dark. And I said, well, let me get up and run into town and try to get something to eat, and maybe I can run over to Pam's family's insurance agency. I had the Wi-Fi feed. If I stood outside the door, I might be able to pick it up just to let my family and kids know. My mom, Jamie, my kids, Heather, everybody know that I was okay because I hadn't really been able to reach out to anybody yesterday. So as I was walking into town, sure enough, Pam rolls up on me and says, I got you a place to stay. So we talked for a little bit and said, we want to take you to dinner over here and then we'll take you up to Brooks and Sarah's home. And great people, I'll tell you all about them. And I said, that's great. Let me stop over here at Subway to see if they have Wi-Fi. So now I saved about I don't know, quarter mile, half mile walking to Pam's office. Um, and I don't know that, because the whole town has no Wi-Fi. I think I've mentioned that like 9 or 10 times now. But that's what this town's going to be known. As great as the people are, I'm always going to remember that there was no Wi-Fi. So I went to Subway, and I don't even think it was for the public, but the young man let me have the Wi-Fi, and I really appreciate that. So I was able to talk to the family, the kids, say hello to them. In fact, my daughter still has like 5 of those little, I don't know what they call it, memes videos that she wants me to watch, and I didn't want to share them all with you guys yesterday, so I'll look at them, and if I really believe in what she's saying, I'll share them with you one a day. Um, but I got the Wi-Fi, I was able to reach them. We went and had dinner, and I met. I hadn't yet met Pam and Billy's daughter Taylor, her husband Drake, and their little boy. So I had a nice dinner, uh, great time sharing some stories. I get a little bit lost as to what I'm writing down in my book, what I'm sharing in my middays, and what I'm doing now. Um, but Billy had been through like 29 surgeries with his. He has an affliction with his bladder, stomach. Pam is now. She's got the way she explained it to me, and it was the name of one of them, not Lyme disease, but she's got apparently 2 diseases that have been inflicted by tick bites. But she's battling that, and she's kind of worn down a little bit. Um, the kids are great, and the family's just so welcoming. And Pam and some of the gentlemen she introduced me to during the day, Frank and I forget the other gentleman's name. They're all kind of on the committee to improve Chelsea. They're so proud of this town, and there's one thing that she told me that stuck out with me, and I don't want to say it, not that I have any pull or anything like that. That me saying it would change anything, but she said something that fascinated me. That one of the landmarks not far down the road from here in Oklahoma is what they call the Round Barn, and the Round Barn puts out a visitor log that people can sign. And earlier in the day, and I think I did cover it, was how traveling Route 66 changed Pam's life, um, um, and how she looked at things. And it's about the people. Everything that I do is about the people. The fact that I'm sitting here in a hair salon attached to a house in the middle of Chelsea, Oklahoma, I could never have imagined. But when you understand that it's not that I'm sitting in a hair salon attached to a house in Chelsea, Oklahoma, I'm in the home of some really special people that are really, I'm trying to cry right now, really meaningful. Um, Brooks and his wife Sarah and their son Jet, and they have another son who hadn't met yet. And their grandfather, 87 years old still, I could run the tractor farming last night. Just crazy stuff, just the people. And so anyway, we had dinner, and I met these wonderful folks, and they told me that at some point during the day, Pam had reached out on her Facebook page and said, guys, could we please help this guy? He's got a pretty neat story, he's a pretty good guy, can we help him? And Sarah and Brooks were back in Veneta where I had come from yesterday, and they responded, yeah, we got a futon and a hair salon, and we'd be happy to put him up tonight. So thank you to Pam and to Billy for caring enough about me to make that happen on behalf of my family. And then certainly thank you to Brooks and Sarah and Jet for meeting me last night and letting me stay here. But I guess I got to talk about these folks for a while. And it's funny how, again, this journey is far out of my control. I'm trying to make my shirt at least so you can read it in case people are new to this whole thing here. Point the thumb journey, guys. Point the thumb, not the finger. That's what that means. Anyway, so before I go any further with that, because I'll get sidetracked, I wanted to let you know that my schedule is going to be, I'm going to put my schedule a little bit later, and it's going to be a little bit jacked up, I think, or not jacked up, but different. I've been bouncing back and forth with how to go and where to go. So anyway, I got here relatively late at night, and in the evening, and we spent some time together. But Jet was a little fella, reminds me of my son, throwing a football around and talking with his dad and Sarah, and it came to be where I didn't know what had happened recently with them. When I say recently, I mean the last few years. But the story kind of goes like this. Jet's a young boy, and was walking down the hall and just collapsed. He had a stroke or something worse. So they didn't know. So they rushed him to the hospital, and they get him into the room, and they do some x-rays, and I'm not going to, see, one of my frustrations about this is when other people can tell a story, it is so impactful. And the problem I have is I can't just say, hey, can I film you as we talk about it? Because I think it makes people uncomfortable. But listening to Brooks and Sarah tell me this was so powerful, almost brought me to tears, and I am not doing it justice, and I wish they would be able to tell a story. Maybe I'll even ask them. But essentially, they took an x-ray, and the doctor came in and closed the door behind him, and there was an oncologist, and Brooks has a sense of humor about him, but a serious sense of humor in the sense that he's like, oncologist, you don't need to be here. I'm basically not acknowledging you because my son doesn't have cancer. And he had this mass in his brain, and they didn't know it was either going to be a stroke and some kind of mass, or it was going to be cancer. And they drove home, basically the two of them, meaning Brooks and Sarah, just yelling, it's not cancer, it's not going to be cancer, it's not going to be cancer. They wouldn't allow it to enter their mind. And when they got back to the hospital, the nurse, I think, said to them, look guys, I got good news and bad news. And Brooks said, give me the worst bad news you got. And she said, or the best bad news you got, because obviously it wasn't good. And she said, well, it's not cancer. So that was something of relief. But he did have a stroke. And we got to get him to Dallas. And, their heads are spinning as parents. And I'll touch base as to why that's important to me later on. But their heads are spinning. And in like Dallas, the jet's on the way. So they flew up this jet to take little Jet to Dallas to get care. And only one parent could go, and of course there's all this whole craziness going on in their mind, what's going on with our son, and how can we afford all this, and what are the ramifications. And to make a long story short, Jet has, and I shouldn't say it like that, because I certainly don't want to minimize this, but I want to get a few things in. Jet is one of only 7 people, the 7th person to have, I'm not sure if it's in the country or in the world, be treated for this disease. Essentially what happened is he has the ability to, I guess, rotate his head more than others, and I guess his vertebrae cut one of his arteries, and the artery bled, and as it clotted and things like that, that went up into his brain and caused a stroke. Um, but a lot of prayer, um, and a lot of and one of the things I thought was really special that Sarah said was, look, when you pray, um, you know, you pray for God to help, but that doesn't mean that the help comes in the form of you just wake up and you're better. The help came in the form of doctors and medications and things like that. So, because sometimes I think people hear me talk, hear others talk, and assume that they think prayer to mean simply, you go to sleep at night, you pray, and you're healed. And I thought that was pretty interesting when Sarah shared it with me, that, we prayed for him to get better and for help, and he did, but it was with the help of doctors and modern science and medication, but God made that happen. So anyway, that's what happened with little Jet. And one of the things that was interesting was when Sarah and Brooks, I guess mostly Sarah, got the Facebook posting from Pam about, hey, can we help this guy out? She said yes, basically sight unseen. Then she went and kind of researched a little bit about who I am and why I'm doing my journey and some of the charities I'm hoping to raise money for, which one is St. Jude's. Well, guess who happens to be a patient of St. Jude's? St. Jude's is based out of Memphis, but they have other children's hospitals that are affiliated with them and partnered by them. So the one here, I believe in Tulsa, is affiliated with St. Jude's, and it's the St. Jude's Hospital. So here I am trying to raise money for St. Jude's because I believe in it so deeply. And the little gentleman I met last night, Jet, is a patient of St. Jude's. So it's funny how these things all seem to tie into each other. But we talked for a little while. They have a large farm. I see the sunrise coming up now over the farm. I'm going to start to get ready here. But they told me that September starts calving season. So I may head out there on a tractor in a little while. And if the people back east could see me now, they go out to see if any of the moms are birthing. And what I know of birthing is that if a mom's having a tough time delivering, we got to get our hands up in there and help get that calf out. So I don't know what the morning's going to hold. I know that I'm going to be going to church a little bit later this morning. I'm going to be trying to get down to Claremore. Originally I said I might not, but I was told that the town of Foyle doesn't have a whole lot in it. So Claremore's where it's at. And because I'm getting a late start, I may take advantage of an offer of a ride down. There's a landmark called the Big Totem Pole I want to share with you guys and see how, if I can get dropped off there and then walk into Claremore and see how the night goes from there. Which means that tomorrow, Monday, will probably be another landmark called the Blue Whale I'm excited to go see and work my way into some Tulsa. So I've got to reach out to a few folks that have reached out to me and said, hey, I'm in Tulsa, let me know. Mike Lilly's cousin, I think, is up that way, so I'll reach out to Mike later. So there's a lot going on. I'm going to talk about it later as well. But there's another kind of story I want to share with you guys. I really do enjoy little pointed things. And while I'm sitting here in the salon this morning, there's the local paper is called the Chelsea Reporter, and I started to just read it randomly. And there was a couple of stories. One person had done a thing, basically wrote into the paper, basically saying, hey, I give up on voting because nothing really matters, and our country, kind of hasn't improved in 50 years with all the voting I've done. So what's the point? Anyway, two things I want to get in. I'm out of time. One is there's some truth about healthy living and hard work and a work ethic. Grandpa here is 87 years old and still working on the farm. Back in Veneta, I told you I met Beth and her family. Her dad is 98 years old and still maintaining the motel that's there. So there's some people living long, healthy lives out here in central part of our country out in Oklahoma. Anyway, one of the articles I read was a quick little moral story. I want to share it with you real quickly. Bunch of frogs are hopping through the forest when two of them jump into this huge hole. They're jumping and jumping, but there's no way of getting them out. Actually, I'm not going to have time to finish this, but I do want to share it with you. So come on back for my midday and remind me I got to tell you the frog moral story. So in the meantime, guys, I still haven't heard back how Ontario High School and Ontario Ohio football team did. I got word that Triton won and Crestview won. Love you guys. Kira, Grace, Landon, take care, guys. Love you so much, and I'll talk to you later with the frog story. Bye-bye now.